Hello, all. I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary. Recently, I finished the first round of edits for my new book, Shadows of Atlantic City, and now it's time for me to feed it through Autocrit. I've paid enough for it, might as well put it to use. Now, Autocrit is an AI-driven editing platform that will scan and help you straighten up your structure of your novel. One of the things I like about Autocrit is that even though it's driven by AI, it doesn't write a single line of text for you. It just shows you where there's a lot of like redundancies and cliches and stuff like that. In other words, it helps you kind of tighten your manuscript before you send it off to perhaps a paid editor or to go through a second round of edits yourself. Now, this is the first time I've ever actually fed a full book through Autocrit of my own, and I'm kind of interested to see how it all works. Sure, I put in a few test scripts here and there, but never the actual book, so anyway, the first thing we do is we go to our Reedsy platform and we click on the book we're planning on editing. We're going to do Shadows. And once it loads up, we click on our Export Book button here. And then we'll scroll all the way to the bottom and click on the backup. That's because Autocrit only supports docx files, RTS, and TXTs. Once you hit the backup button, Reedsy will typeset it. You can hit close. You'll get an email once it's ready, or you can scroll to the top and wait for it to process. As you can see, I've done a few of these already. Once it's done, docx is usually formatted fairly quick. We hit the download button and we save it to our computer. Now, once we're in Autocrit, we just hit the upload file button. We drag or drop or click our file to select it. And once it's selected, it gets put into Autocrit's system. Now, if you're importing a book from Reedsy, you need to know that Autocrit doesn't auto-detect the chapters very well at all. Even though each chapter is highlighted as an H1, Autocrit seems to ignore that fact and won't find them. So you have to go through all of your chapters, highlight it with your cursor, and then click the button for Autocrit to add it as a chapter. So for example, if I wanted to add this prologue as a chapter, which I've already done, you highlight the text and you click on the button here, and Autocrit will add it as a chapter to your book. Now, if you have a lot of chapters from Reedsy, that means you're going to have to scroll down and select and add them one by one. It's kind of a bummer considering how Autocrit is supposed to have the ability to auto-detect a chapter, and if you have normal text versus an H1, you'd think that that would be somewhat obvious. Unfortunately, it's not, and so it's a time-consuming process to highlight all the chapters so that Autocrit can do its thing. So I'm going to take a break, go do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've added all the chapters to the book, let's take a look to see what Autocrit says on my manuscript. Summary report? I think this is the big one, too. Okay, so my Autocrit score, I compared myself with Stephen King for shits and giggles. Let's see, the overall score. Oh, not too bad. Pacing, momentum, dialogue, strong writing, word choices, repetition. Uh-oh. Scored an 82. Let's see, what else we got here? Pacing and momentum. It's snappy. Less than 5% of your paragraphs are being flagged as slow paced. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. That's what I was aiming for. Slow paced paragraphs. Oh, look at that. And my book is faster than Stephen King's. Not that it mattered. Average words per paragraph. Hey, look at that. Your paragraphs by word count. Cool. Average words per sentence. My sentences are a little bit longer. Sentences by word count. Dialogue. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of dialogue in Shadows, so that was kind of a given. And it's pretty close on par with Stephen King. So I wasn't even aiming for that. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Then we got dialogue tag use, said and asked. Others. Let's see what else we got. Adverbs. Oh, look at that. Huh? Decimated adverbs. Strong writing. 79.8, that's not too bad. Showing versus telling, filler words, passive phrases. Nice. Let's see, showing versus telling. Oh, look at that. That's a decent score. It's the first for writing good reasons. Showing uses description and action to help the reader experience the story. Look at that. I'm a little bit more descriptive. Oh, ho, ho. Not that I care. Filler words. He uses more filler words than I do. Anyway, passive phrasing. I try not to use passive voice too often. Even in blogging, I'll try to use active tense as much as possible. Okay, past, present, future. I guess that really depends on what the words were in the story. Cliches. Oh, look at that. I'm lowering cliches. Redundancies. Yep, I'm gonna have to go find all the redundancies. I had a feeling that was going to be pretty high. Word choice, 88. Nice. Power words. Ooh. Yeah, fear being the biggest one. Well, yeah, given the nature of the book. Point of view, first person. I didn't want it to be in first person. I'm gonna have to go through and check that. The second person, there shouldn't be no second person in there at all. All right. Yep, that I'll have to check. Pronouns and names. Okay. See, and that right there is what I've been talked about before from authors and editors, that I need to start with the initial pronouns more often. Sometimes I wait quite a while before I actually bring in someone's name or a gender. Sentence starters. Yeah, that's not too bad. Generic descriptions. I have fewer generic descriptions. Repetition. Yeah, I had a feeling repetition. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through and fix the repetition parts. Repeated words. Yeah. Yeah, I already knew that. That's one of the big ones. Word frequency. Holy crap. That's the main character's name and secondary characters. Cool. Readability is good. The flash reading E score. Mine's a little bit more difficult to read, but not by much. So all in all, that's actually a fairly decent score all around. Huh. Pretty jazzed about that. Okay, let's see. Repetition. Repeated words. Oh, look at that. Nice. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. Repeated words, many. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay, that makes way more sense. Okay, so this right here is why I really wanted to try Autocrit, is because I do have a problem with repetition, and seeing it laid out like this um, makes it so much easier to fix because I can go in and just change the words as we go. So that is definitely a bonus to Autocrit. Word frequency. Maybe it was word frequency. One of them was showing like wanted me to remove the name, and I'm hoping they fix that. So yeah, see this one here. It's been used an excessive amount of times. That's because he's the main fucking character. So stuff like that, yeah, take with a grain of salt. Not a big fan of word frequency. It's still, yeah. I'm not going to remove 1,364 instances of the main character's name. Then the phrase frequency. Sometimes I have a habit of doubling up on phrases too, especially if I come back to it after I've written, um, after I haven't written in the book for about a month or so. I'll accidentally reiterate some phrases that, or not reiterate, repeat some phrases. So this is another one that I have an issue with. So, okay, phrase frequency. That's actually not too bad. You just don't want them too close to each other. So you'll probably change some of that to the hotel, other descriptors for the outpost. So I probably want to go through and change a few of these maybe. Got strong writing. Showing versus telling. Okay, too many coulds, huh? Quite a few coulds. New, heard, feel. Watched is in excess, really? But yeah, if you're watching somebody, or maybe I could change that from watch to something else. I don't know. What about redundancies? Have I looked at redundancies yet? Because I know repetition is in there. No, quite a few of those outside of only 22 though. It's not like terrible. Okay, so I'm not gonna go too into the detail because it is a book and I don't want you guys reading it quite yet. But it is kind of cool to see how I stacked up against Stephen King. I mean, I don't really compare myself to the authors, but it is kind of cool to see how they structure their books versus what I did. And it's kind of cool to see just how closely I matched with Stephen King, structure wise. Now there are quite a few redundancies and repetitions that I am going to tackle here in a minute because I'm pretty bad at that. But that's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted Autocrit to scan through it because I know that I suck when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, but in any other case, Autocrit is kind of cool. It finds a lot of the stuff that I do have an issue with when I'm writing. And I think when I bring it back into Reedsy, I'm just going to copy and paste each chapter one by one. Trying to export it and then import it is just going to be a nightmare. It doesn't look like Reedsy and Autocrit play very well together, but you can use it. You just have to highlight each chapter one by one and then add it as a chapter to Autocrit, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But once you get it all done, Autocrit works great with it. Kind of had fun looking at all the different stats and yeah. Well, let's fix some of these words and give it another once over and see if we can get this book published. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for today. I'm going to get to editing my book in Autocrit. I'll see you next time.